Well, a tense meeting went down between President Biden and congressional leaders yesterday, and it did not result in any breakthrough in the ongoing debt ceiling standoff.
Democrats and Republicans are trying to reach a deal to avoid a potentially crippling economic impact. But the clock is ticking with just a few weeks left before the U.S. faces the possibility of defaulting on its debts. We are joined by NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli, who is here in New York. Julie Tsirkin is with us again as well. Mike, let's start with you. There were no cameras in the room, but we're getting a feel for what it was like. Tense sounds like perhaps an understatement. Right. Yeah. Did they make any progress at all?
Well, both sides were predicting ahead of the meeting that there wasn't likely to be a major breakthrough. And guess what? It didn't appear that there was a major breakthrough. Democrats making it clear they still want to see a so-called clean debt limit increase, no strings attached. Speaker McCarthy making it clear there needs to be some effort to rein in spending. Now, the president did talk to reporters after for quite a bit, and he made it clear who he thought the sticking point was. He said there was a good conversation among 3 of the 4 participants. He also laid out what the next plans are. Here, take a listen.
We need to take the threat of default off the table. As the meeting ended, excuse me, I suggested we continue to meet, and the leaders, our staffs continue to meet, and the leaders meet again on Friday to continue our discussions to see what progress we made.
Now, there's a real time crunch, as you know. June 1st is coming up quick, and the president has a pretty long trip planned. We're supposed to travel with him overseas to Japan and Australia next week. The president, interestingly, did not rule out the possibility that he might have to postpone that trip in order to make sure these negotiations move forward.
All right, Julie, let's bring you back in here. So this was House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's first face-to-face meeting with President Biden in months, and we know he's touted the GOP plan that passed through the House a few weeks ago, but it does include those deep spending cuts. How did McCarthy feel and say that the meeting went?
Well, you heard how Mike set it up there and what Biden said. He thought that 3 out of the 4 participants participated honestly in this meeting. Speaker McCarthy, following that, told reporters that he didn't think it went that great. They traded some jabs inside the meeting. McCarthy stood strong to his positions, demanding spending cuts before even negotiating a debt limit increase. It seemed like both sides in this meeting were pretty hamstrung in arguing their positions. Here's what Kevin McCarthy had to tell reporters afterward. Watch.
Everybody in this meeting reiterated the positions they were at. I didn't see any new movement. The president said the staff should get back together, but I was very clear with the president. We have now just 2 weeks to go.
Now, the meeting did grow tense in some key portions. There was a little bit of a back and forth whether Kevin McCarthy called the president a liar. He afterwards said he didn't. He said what the president was saying was a lie. That's when President Biden brought up what he says Republicans planned on 22% in cuts to veterans. McCarthy shot back. This is a key talking point that we've been hearing between both sides, and it's because the House Republican plan does not specify where they would cut, but it's clear that if they're not taking from veterans, that increases the amount they will have to cut from discretionary spending. So bottom line, as you heard Mike say there, no movement. Both sides will meet again on Friday. Staff are meeting in the interim, but the clock is ticking to that June 1st deadline.
So, Mike, I mean, looking back, we have seen the debt ceiling raised dozens of times under presidents, both Democrats and Republicans. Remind us what's at stake here if they don't reach an agreement.
And that's really what's motivating the president here, because he remembers this happened just 3 times under President Trump without this kind of drama. The White House has laid out all sorts of doomsday scenarios, potentially even 8 million jobs lost. The stock market could tank, and the government will have to decide what bills to pay. Some people might not see their Social Security benefits, for instance. So the president is putting this squarely on congressional Republicans. That's why I'm in New York, and that's why he's coming to New York. He's going to go to a district represented by a freshman Republican to really say it's up to them to do what past Congresses have done repeatedly. Do their duty, raise the debt ceiling.
Julie, as lawmakers try to find a way to avoid a default, of course, every vote is going to count. And there's some other news on Capitol Hill. Democrats getting one of those back with the return of California Senator Dianne Feinstein after a months-long absence because of health issues. Tell us the latest on her return.
After 3 months, Senator Dianne Feinstein, 89 years old, the oldest member of the Senate, is set to return today to cast her first vote potentially since February 16th. She's missed 90-plus votes. She is a key reason why judges are an issue right now. The only thing Senate Democrats can really act on in moving forward the president's nominees for judicial posts. But she's expected to return today after a health scare, after a battle with shingles. We heard some back and forth from Democrats and Republicans, primarily some Democrats, notably, who were questioning whether Senator Feinstein was coming back in the first place, Now she returned, we're hearing, overnight on a private plane from California, expected to make her first vote today. And of course, with Democrats' one-seat majority in the Senate, every single vote counts when it comes to the debt limit, although it's not clear if it will have any impact if Leader Schumer chooses to put a clean debt ceiling on the floor, because we do know 43 out of 49 Republicans currently oppose voting for anything like that.
Julie, thanks for covering so much for us this morning. Mike, great to have you in New York with us. Thank you both.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.